Today we're going to be talking about different types of lines for math. So you need your big math book. So you can take this out. You'll need a piece of paper or scrap paper. It could be a notebook and a pencil. I'm going to have you kind of do like we did last time when we were looking at different types of angles, where I have a picture for you that I'm going to show you. I'm going to have you write it down and then reply to me in the email. So make sure you have scrap paper or any kind of paper and a pencil available. You need your big math book, and you can open, I ripped it out to make it a little bit easier, but you can open to page 389. It looks like this. So if you don't have your book, you can press pause and then you can come back. And I want you to look at the 3 different types of lines. So I'm right here. So the first kind is called intersecting lines. These are lines that cross at exactly one point, and then they form 4 angles. So if you take a look at this, they cross right here where this letter X is. Intersecting lines just means that the lines cross somehow. So they don't always have to cross in the middle like this, and I'll show you some examples of that later, but they do have to cross, and they cross at one point. Now in the definition, it also says that they form 4 angles. So if you take a look at this, can you see the angles that are formed? So up here, down here, and then on the sides. So I have 2 obtuse angles and 2 acute angles. But the lines can only cross at one point. So those are called intersecting lines. The second example, so I'm looking right here now, are parallel lines. And these are lines that are always the same distance apart, and they're never going to cross or intersect. So if you take a look at these lines here, the arrows are there to just show those lines would keep on going and they would never cross. Now, when we talked about angles, angles can be in different directions, like they could be turned. Remember, I showed you different examples if they were turned. Same with different types of lines. So these are horizontal, but I could turn them and they would still be parallel lines. Like if I put them this way and they're going up and down, they're still not crossing. They could go on kind of like a diagonal like this. As long as the 2 lines never cross, they're the same distance apart, those are called parallel lines. Now the third kind of lines are perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines form right angles, so they cross. So perpendicular lines are actually intersecting lines also, but when they cross, they have to cross so that they form 4 right angles. So similar to intersecting lines, they do form 4 angles, but in perpendicular lines, they have to be 4 right angles. And remember when we talked about right angles, they're the angles that form like in corners. And a symbol that you can use are like those boxes. You see how there's those blue boxes? That's kind of a hint, meaning that it's a right angle. And if you have 4 of them like that and they cross, those are called perpendicular lines. So intersecting lines, they also cross, but they don't have to cross at that to make right angles. They can cross at any way at one point. Then parallel lines never cross. Perpendicular lines intersect or cross, but they have to form right angles. So the next activity, you're going to be replying to me in the email, and I'm going to show you I think I have 8 different problems that are related to these. So you can use this for help, so you can have this right next to you. It's not a test, but I want you to think about, is it an intersecting line, parallel, or perpendicular? And you don't have to write the word line after it, but I do want you to write the whole word. So you'd have to write intersecting, parallel, or perpendicular. So if I go too fast and you need to stop or rewind, you can always do that, but make sure you're spelling them correctly. They're right in front of you. So I have them on note cards, and what I'm going to have you do is on your scrap paper, you can just number it. So there's 8 of them. This is number 1. So look at the different types. What kinds of lines are these? So that's what you're writing down. Okay, here's number 2. What types of lines are these? Parallel, perpendicular, or intersecting? Remember, you can always pause this if I'm going too fast. Number 3. Make sure you're spelling it correctly and you're writing the whole word down. Here's number 4. What types of lines are these? Parallel lines, perpendicular, or intersecting? Number 5. Number 6. Number 7. And number 8. So then what I'd like you to do is when you're done with this video, go back into the email, and I have it numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you can just type your responses that you wrote down. So is it a parallel line, perpendicular, or intersecting? And then you can send it to me. Thank you.